Hi, welcome to Punch Perfect Boxing. Now, Frank Warren's come out recently and stated that he personally cannot see any reason at all, why Anthony Joshua and Tyson Fury should not face off in a boxing ring sometime in the near future. Now, if this fight happens in the UK, which is debatable, I reckon it's going to be the biggest boxing match this country has ever seen by a long way, and could well be the biggest sporting event that the UK has ever seen. So if this fight does happen, you know there's going to be endless debates on who's going to win, how they'll win, etc, etc. So today what I'd like to do is go back and have a look at the only time Joshua and Tyson Fury have met inside a boxing ring. June 2010. Fury came to London to get some sparring in preparation for his upcoming rematch with John McDermott. There have been many stories on what actually happened that night, so we spoke to some of the people who were in attendance in the gym that night. Now, one thing I think is really important that we must note here is that Joshua had been boxing less than 2 years. He'd just become ABA champion, while Fury had been a pro for less than 18 months. Both boxers are vastly different fighters to the two guys who met at Finchley ABA Boxing Gym in Barnet, North London in the summer of 2010. Now, Tyson journeyed up to Finchley Boxing Gym hoping to get some decent rounds in with the young amateur Anthony Joshua. Here's what Fury had to say about that spar in an interview with Steve Bunce. That Joshua, he's very good. To be honest with you, I thought to myself, I'm only going to take it easy as he's an amateur and we probably won't spar again if I go mad. Now he's rushed out at me through a 1-2 and left hook. I slipped and thought, he's not very good, I'm going to take my time. Then bash, he hits me with a great big uppercut right on the point of the chin. If I'd had a bit of a weak chin like David Price, I'd have been knocked out for a month. He's very, very good and only young, 20. Watch out for that name, Anthony Joshua. He's one prospect for the future. He came out at me for 3 rounds and he gave me a beating. I'm not going to deny it. He gave me hell for leather. For 3 rounds I thought, oh my God, an amateur's killing me. Joshua himself was a bit more reserved when talking about the spar. Tyson Fury came down and my coach told me this was the guy from the paper, the Boxing News, and if he's knocked out you get a Rolex watch. I wasn't even into Rolex watches back then. I was still rocking Casios. I was young and we really went to war. He's a gypsy warrior, hungry and that's it. It was an all-out, good, hard, heavy sparring session. And that's it. For another view, I spoke to Ollie Patterson, former top amateur boxer at Finchley Gym and a guy who trained with Joshua right the way through Joshua's amateur career, and now Ollie's a professional boxer himself. This is how Ollie remembers that night. Joshua Fury sparring. Well, this is how I remember it. Firstly, I remember the sheer size of Fury. Walking in the gym, he had to duck under the double doors at Finchley. I remember how really friendly he was to everyone, saying hello and smiling. They got gloved up, and I remember Josh coming out fast like a typical amateur would. Obviously only used to doing shorter rounds, lol. He was coming out throwing bombs, but Fury was slipping, rolling and blocking, taking a few, but wasn't throwing back too much at the time. He kept making funny noises to wind Josh up, especially when he threw big and missed. This happened for about 2.5 rounds, and then Josh started to tire, being an amateur, and Fury took over, and was landing a lot of sharp punches, a lot of jabs. They did 4 rounds. Fury and his team shouted for 2 more, but Johnny and Sean, the coaches at Finchley, said no. That was enough. Then a couple of other heavyweights from Finchley, a couple of other amateur heavyweights, came in and gave Fury some more rounds. We also spoke to George Phillips, former senior coach at Finchley ABA, who says Josh did really, really well for the first 3 rounds and then got absolutely knackered. To be fair though, Fury was the first professional fighter he sparred. After the 4th round, the other coaches pulled Josh out, and though Fury wanted to do more rounds, Josh was absolutely knackered. Now Tyson Fury himself adds a little bit more to the story. Speaking to Showtime before he drew against Wilder, Fury maintained that Joshua had had success in the early rounds, but was left squealing from body shots later on. Fury said, "Yeah, we've had a spar before. Amateur boxer he was at the time. He had a good couple of rounds and then I started hitting him to the body. He was lifting his legs up in the corner. There were 10 people in the gym who saw it. I'm there with my hands down. He's coming forward with big swings. How's he going to hit me? I said, go on then, put one on me. I'll stand still." So a few slightly differing opinions on what happened that night. But I think the thing we can draw from all this is that Joshua had a good couple of rounds and then Fury came back in the last round and a half, and it was a good, hard, heavyweight spar. I think if they sparred today, it would be very, very different. And I know, like I said in the beginning of this video, that both guys are completely different fighters to the two guys who met in 2010. But what I'd really like to hear is people's opinions on how this fight will play out. So just drop your opinions in the comment section below. And yeah, I'd be really, really interested to see how people think this fight will play out when it finally happens. And I'm sure it will happen. So thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next video. Cheers, guys.